Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
Yeah, we were pretty rambunctious. I mean, Fantry and I used to hang out in high school, doing stupid shit. So.
Yeah, like we used to mess with the soup man.
The
Soup guy, Ronald McDonald.
That's ridiculous. He would give us free samples of soup, but we were so
So then when we got
mean.
$5, we spent it on the soup.
Oh my god.
And then we'd share it with everybody.
Were you ever with me when there was this guy? Now thinking about it, it was pretty creepy. But there was this guy on 79th Street that had this those people that sell the magazines and newspapers in a weird little kiosk on the street.
Yep.
There was this one on 79th Street where apparently not apparently because I did this, but someone told me that if you go up to him and just talk to him about anything, he'll let you take whatever you want from there.
Oh, okay.
From his kiosk.
Yeah.
So at age 15, I would go up there and talk to him for a little bit for 15 minutes, and he would give me packs of cigarettes. and then I sold the cigarettes at school for $5 each.
$5 per cigarette?
Per pack of cigarettes.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's discount.
Well, I got them for free, and then it would make
They used to be
$5 off.
$7.25.
No, exactly. So I was trying to just
$7.
make money because I got them for free off this dude that honestly, now thinking about it, was why was he talking to a 15-year-old and giving them random free stuff from the kiosk?
Fantastic.
Anyway, yeah.
Fantastic.
I was growing up in New York.
Excuse me.
Yeah, are you Robin Hood or are you a molester? I just don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, totally.
You rolling, Mike?
But the weird part is that you had to talk to him for a while.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That's creepy, right? It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, he just needed material.
Was he an old? He was old, or was he
Just I don't know, maybe 35, 40. I don't know.
Well, okay,
he was just
maybe he was a child molester, or maybe he just needed friends.
Yeah,
maybe he was gathering information for a film about teenagers.
15-year-olds.
All three.
Maybe he wrote
high schoolers.
Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, at the time, I didn't find it that weird. At the time, it was, kind of weird, but it was, cool. You know what I mean? It's cool, this guy lets us take free shit. I got 5 candy bars. I got 5 candy bars and, 2 packs of cigarettes. Sold 2 packs of cigarettes. Paid $10.
No, these older adults who used to hang out with high school kids, they used to seem cool because they weren't ageist. And in retrospect, even though I'm way older than 26 now, a 26-year-old who used to hang out with 16-year-olds who would come to my house and for parties and stuff. No dice.
No dice. I used to see that a lot in high school. I see dudes who graduate maybe 2 or 3 years prior will come on their bikes and just start hanging out. It was I was confused. Wait, you graduated? Why are you here? At the time, I didn't understand how creepy that was, but it's why you graduated? Why you want to come back to high school? You know what I mean? I hate high school. People who just left their golden years in high school. It's you don't have to. You're not necessarily a creep if you're 20 and you go back to high school. You know what I mean?
But if you're 26,
that's
a
40,
decade.
you're fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Scram.
Yeah. The random 30-year-olds.
I'm not hanging out of high school.
The random 30-year-olds that would be at the party with
random 30-year-olds.
with the 20-year-olds.
Diana is 18 years old, and Diana might tell me about her high school parties, but I'm not gonna go to one of them with her because that's creepy.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch a bunch of teenagers make out and try weed for the first time.
Because that's also creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Level 36, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. You can subscribe anywhere you get podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, radio.com, anywhere else you get podcasts, including Spotify. My friends today are joining me once again. Weeping Icon, Sarah's and Lani. What up?
What's up?
Happy Saturday.
Wait, so you mean none of that stuff we just talked about was in this?
Yes, it was.
Just kidding.
It's all in. All in, baby.
It's all in. We're gonna Weeping Icon taking a stand against 26-year-olds hanging out at high school. That's us. That's what our whole project is about.
So the self-titled album is the 27th, right? right?
Yes, that is the release day.
Yeah. And
that is when it will be available on all the streaming platforms.
Yes. And
including Spotify.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know about
Including
Spotify. I've never
It's
used
also, it's
Stitcher.
not an album, it's also a podcast. Yeah.
It is a podcast.
Yeah, it really
Oh my
is.
god, that would be a great idea. Can we make like a music podcast?
Do it.
Yeah, Peter, don't include this in your
Okay,
podcast
sorry.
because nobody
Go
can
on.
take our idea. We're making a podcast album.
I can't wait.
Greatest hits.
The release show is at Saint Vitus,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
I love Saint Vitus.
Yeah.
So do I.
Such a beautiful spot.
A couple of
Cool
us
spot.
are into some heavier music here.
Yeah, yeah.
Few of us are-
No,
we're all
but
into- I don't
when
know.
I went to a show out there,
Whatever. Sarah's a doom metaler.
I saw Wild Honey there, and they're like a dreamy indie rock band. So the complete opposite of what I thought. And Beverly was there too. They played.
Oh, yeah.
So it was the opposite of
Beverly.
like any band that would typically play there. Like who else? Didn't Sleep do a show there once?
High on
I feel like
Fire.
they would fit
High
in.
on Fire, yeah,
Oh,
okay, yeah,
Sleep
right.
would
High on
fit
Fire
in very
plays
good
there. Sleep is pretty big. I don't know
Yeah.
if they've ever played Vitus, but
Oh, Uncle Acid, I think, did a show there.
Uncle Acid?
Yeah, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Should I
Yeah,
listen
if
to
you
it?
like doomy stuff,
Hell yeah.
that's them.
Yeah.
That's all
I'll
them.
listen to that.
Yeah,
yeah, but
And who
all the bangers.
yeah. Who are you playing with? That
Oh,
day.
Are we announcing it? We're gonna announce it in a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
So-
announcing it really soon.
We already know, but
But how many people listen to this? No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
wow! Wow.
Dude, will they hear it?
Oh, actually,
I'm just kidding. I'm
quite
just
some-
joking.
no.
I'm totally kidding.
Closing in on 1,500 downloads. You know?
Oh, damn.
Whoa.
Yeah, right?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Amazing,
Okay.
Peter.
Peter.
Okay, then
For
we
me?
can't say. Then we can't
That's-
say.
yeah, then we
You have
can't
too many
say.
followers.
Too many
Oh.
bands.
We can't.
We're not doing it.
By the time this comes out, this would be like maybe like the second week of September, right? Yeah. So
Oh.
when do you
well, then we
plan
can say
on?
it.
Well, just in case we have, there's
Yeah,
this-
yeah. We
How about you
have that
say it,
100%.
and then we could probably take it out.
There's a reason.
we at least have confirmed 2 bands.
Yeah.
Who?
We
And
just,
they are.
We're not live. You know that,
I'll
right?
just let them. I'll just say it. It's Horoscope
Okay.
and PE, which is Pill and Eaters. They like combined and
see the look on your face of
cool.
like the sparkle in your eye. I know that's how we
Yeah.
felt about
Yeah.
it. We were
Yeah.
like, well, you guys are doing that?
Oh.
Okay.
So that's why Bill broke up.
No.
I didn't. No, I don't think.
I don't
so.
think they're. I guess they said that they were done, or was it an official breakup? People are allowed to take
It was
breaks
pretty
from
loose.
playing,
That's true. You're right.
you know, and maybe they're not taking a break, and maybe they really are, but that's their business.
Of course.
Bands are relationships, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, maybe it's that we have love for Pill in our hearts,
love
and
Pill.
we
Former
I know,
guest.
they're the darlings of our little immediate circle,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of hope that they'll play again.
And Veronica still is the
Love
front
her.
person, so
Love her.
of PE, so it will be good.
That's a great
I
name,
felt
though.
like
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Pill and Eaters. I didn't realize that. but
yeah,
that's where I
yeah,
got the
Pill
name
Eaters.
Pill Eaters.
That's great.
I think it's pretty cool.
That's
That's pretty dope. I
But
love that.
but yeah, I think they're just going as PE.
PE.
But excited to see them. We might have one other, so that's why we are not fully
Done yet.
done yet.
Yeah.
We're not
announced it
fully announcing it yet. because
So
of that.
it's been 2 years since Eyeball Under, and I know you guys have history maybe as Weeping Icon for about 3 years or so, right? 2016 is when you really got like, okay, we're a band
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you're right.
So how do you feel? How have you grown as artists and as people? How do you, when you look back 2 years, 3 years ago, how are you different?
You know, the industry's really changed us, and we
Yeah.
sold out a lot.
Cool.
we're huge sellouts.
We're
now.
huge sellouts, and
Sarah's
we're
got
gonna write a
car
Christmas
now.
album.
Yeah.
And my Jewish mother isn't happy about it, but I told her that's where the money is, Mama. I don't know. I think we're more confident in our vision and in what we want to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more. It's not just music.
Maybe
now.
I need a
feel
second
like
coffee.
We're adding a lot more to it than just that. There's the
Right.
artwork and the vision and the image, as opposed to just the record. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to push the boundaries of what creating is at this point. because I don't think that we realized really quickly that none of us are just solely musicians, and we're people that create things. And why can't we, why can't we just bring that into our music project? So that's kind of what we're exploring now. I think we're, exploring the ideas of being more than just like a musical project. Like we're exploring emotions and our emotions and feelings about the world in all different ways, like through art, through music, through just like community, and and so I think that's a big way that I think we've developed since that record, I would say.
I mean, I look at this album and all these new songs that you're putting out almost like your sophomore outing, because I count Eyeball Under as like your first album, even though it's not really your first album. So when I'm going to listen to this album, is there anything else that you've added or changed that is almost like a left field, or anything new that you didn't do on the last project, or that you wanted to do on your first EP that you didn't do? Or the other way around, that you wanted to do there but you couldn't do at that time?
Well, I really think that there's a release in this record. I think that it starts out kind of just like really heavy, really fast, really like in your face kind of, and then there's like kind of an arc at some point in the record. Like if you listen, there's a lot of like noise interludes in between everything, which is kind of what we do, because if you see us live, that's what we do live. Cool. We like, we like do these like noise interludes, and so we included that in the record. But I do think that in this record, you hear, when you listen to the whole thing, you hear like there's an arc, there's like an emotional kind of release, I think, between like the first side of the record and the second side, I would say, or just like, and then you get to the very end of the album, we have this song Control, which I just like, for me, feels like a huge release. It's just like 8 minutes of kind of just like kind of instrumental noise, kind of like apocalypse kind of feeling music. that has like a little bit of vocals. It's not entirely instrumental, but it feels very releasing for the record, at least from my standpoint. I'd like to know what other people think about that, but
it feels very cathartic for me to play.
Yeah,
particular it's song. A tension and a release at the end. It builds up and then.
Yeah.
Booyakasha.
That's how I would explain this record, is just being different than the first. The first was kind of like, all right, we wrote 5 songs, put them on something, and this is kind of like,
slow down.
How can we make this? Or just how can we make this like a piece, like a, I don't want to say like a masterpiece, but like, how can we make this like make sense in like kind of just conceptual way, which
you're
I think
thinking about it and not actually just going on impulse.
Well, the first one was just it was like explosive. There was a lot of explosive energy for all of us, and and so we were just really stoked to be doing what we were doing, and we were writing these songs really fast, and we were just like, boom, put it out, and we started writing this album with a similar energy, and we grew over the course of writing the album as musicians. We wanted to explore different things. You write over the seasons, and some seasons you just want to be like at punk shows headbanging, and you just want to play fast and hear fast and scream. And then other months you're like, it's January, I'm depressed, let's write a banger. And you just end up, okay, I want to headbang slow, and I want a heavy noise, and I don't know, and that's and I think that's how you get sort of a 360 kind of thing. And so we were just able to explore more emotional territories, and when it comes to the interludes on the album that we created, we were able to develop them a little bit more, and that's an aspect. It's obviously something that we put a lot of energy into with our live set and are very intentional about. But we're going to continue to get more intentional about it, especially because Sarah Leckie is now dedicating all of her energies to her project.
The homie.
Lucky.
Yep.
Totally.
Touring with Travis Scott.
Well, now that the three of us are doing the noise ourselves, we have to be very, very intentional and precise and talk about it a lot between the three of of us. And so the noise and chaos aspects are going to get a lot more sort of controlled in a strange kind of way and more maybe directed.
Yeah. Is there anything on Eyeball Under that you look back at and you're like, I don't want to do that again?
I don't want
from
to
a
do
production,
that
from a production standpoint, music, lyric wise, anything. But that when if you listen to the album or the EP right now and you hear something, is there anything that's like, I never want to do that thing ever again?
I fucking loved everything.
I don't know.
On it, man.
Yeah, it was a great record.
I loved
it really was.
Writing those songs. I loved playing those songs. I miss playing those songs.
I do too.
We should play. We should throw one in a set.
Yeah, there's something like very kind of. I mean, I love hearing a band's first EP or first songs because, like, I just like it's. I love that because I feel like you never fully get that back. I mean, you can get a band that's like their first EP like kind of sucks, but like even just the energy, that raw energy that like a band first has on their first thing that they put out is just, I don't know. It's kind of like a first date, you know?
Yeah, if a band is a love story.
Yeah.
That first album is like their first year together.
Yeah. And I mean, you might hate it, like as the band, like you might look back and be like, oh, like, you know, I don't like any of that stuff, but there's still something really magical about, you know, trying to figure out what you're doing and putting it out there. Because it's not easy to just be like, all right, this is what I'm doing now, and here you go. It's like on a record, and I don't know. There's something special and magical. I would just say, because I mean, things that I like, I feel like I wouldn't change anything about that. And it's more like I look at it with like a kind of love. I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad that happened.
Because it was the birth of something new. For you, it was a new project. You know, 'cause of course you're gonna look at it like, oh, that's my baby. Oh, I love that thing that I did. You know?
But also, this is a good band relationship that we have, and
there you
so
go. You're friends first.
Yeah, and we can look back, right? And we can look back on the first thing that we did together and be like, this was all good shit. And, you know, this is good for me. This is good for all of us. And so we don't have to look back and think, oh, I hate how I gave that person more control than they should have had. And, you know, well, I wish I spoke up for myself because, you know, and I was being false and trying to impress people. Or, you know, we don't have to feel that way. This was a healthy and positive thing.
Yeah.
I think as a listener, as a non-musician, when I want the feeling of like an artist like, for example, Ty Segall. Like when I put on his first album, I kind of want to hate it because I want to hear how he evolved as an artist, which he has. I listened to his most recent one. It's totally out of whack from his first album. And, you know, in a couple of years, I hope the same for Weeping Icon. I want to hate Eyeball Under, even though it's great, but I want to hate it because
Only you, Peter.
I want the new shit to sound like, whoa, you know what I mean?
This is
I want
why
to
we're
see the
friends
evolution.
forever. Damn.
Right? You get what I'm saying, right?
I love that.
There's a lot of artists that you like,
Yeah.
and then when you listen to their first shit, it's like, okay, this is good, but I don't want the first album to be your best album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're a true audiophile.
No. Yeah.
You're a true
guess.
audiophile. I mean,
Yeah.
it really takes someone that like loves music to say something like that. Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like our culture of listening to music now has changed so much during, you know, via Spotify and streaming services that like, who the hell is listening to full records anymore? Like, other than audiophiles.
Yeah.
Other than people like you and me and the rest of us in this room, because I know we all listen to full records, but like the random person on the street just hearing Weeping Icon, like, I don't know if they're going to listen to our first record. Like, who knows? You know, they might listen to like one song, jump around. But yeah, I don't know. I respect that. I think that's a cool outlook on, you know, and I think those are the people that we want to connect with and be, and, you know, those people that will take the time to listen to full records and, you know, think about that and like how that, you know, it's a cool thing.
I think all the teaser singles, or at least the two that you put out at this point, are a step in a new direction. Even if it's Weeping Icon. It's noisy, it's chaotic, but there's something about it. You're carving out like your sculpture. You know what I mean? Like I picture you guys like hammering, like chipping away at the block. You know what I mean? Like you're almost a full person, but like you're still kind of chipping away at it. You know what I mean?
Designing that leaf around the
exactly with the ice pick going ping 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 ping. You know it's coming out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Especially like I love the first single, "Ripe for Consumption." Right, that's the title. Okay, so you're kind of talking about stuff that you've seen happen. You know, like. Like
for
art,
sure.
yeah, like art scenes and communities kind of dissolving from like gentrification or people taking certain aspects of an underground art community and just kind of profiting from it. Is that right?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
Okay.
That's 100%.
Well put. Commodifying it. Yeah.
I'm glad that you got that.
Yeah.
Weird lyrics that you could hardly hear.
Without like calling anybody out, like specifically, is there any situations where you've seen that happen?
Oh yeah.
Tons of situations.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, and Lani, I'll let you talk about it, but Lani and I went to art school. Sarah went to art college. I don't know if it was a similar
Broke
kind
for
of
life.
situation, but we went to art high school here in the city, and there were tons of wonderful people there. People we're still friends with now. People that even if we're not friends with, still totally respect. But there was a lot of ego, and it was interesting going to, living in Brooklyn and continuing this like sort of art legacy, hanging out in the art communities and watching people move in, and they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm, well, look, hey, me, and so there, I feel like even though plenty of people have lots of redeeming qualities or lots of people are super great, and I'm not talking about everyone, there's a lot of ego and a lot of drive to establish oneself, and plenty of people do things in sort of like dirty, shallow, egotistical ways, and we see it on all different scales. There are plenty of good people who do little dirty things there, without even really thinking. And then there are plenty of people who are like sociopaths, and they're just they don't care who they take advantage of. And I'm just, personally for me, I'm just tired of seeing it, and I'm tired of respecting it, and I'm tired of saying, oh, that's just how things are in the industry. I don't think it needs to be. Yeah. And I think it's time we start talking about how effing bullshit it is. I don't think we should say, they're just sellouts, or, well, they're trying to make a profit. They did make this person, I think that it's time we start saying, you took advantage of a community and you're an asshole.
Yeah. What are some examples of taking advantage of an underground art community of any kind? Music, anything else?
You want specifics, Peter?
I don't necessarily want to like bash
situations, not
anyone.
Like, of course not. Yeah, just like yeah.
But yeah, I mean there are certain situations where, for example, I don't know. This is not a real life example, but like, let's say someone puts on like an event somewhere and they do all the work, and even though it's for some other company or organization or something, someone else, maybe they're higher in the rank of that company or that organization, when press comes, they're the ones that give like, oh yes, we did this because we care about, the community or something, right? But it's that other person, the person that comes in and speaks to the press, that actually gets all the credit for what that other person did. So that's kind of what this is about, is just like people coming in, not necessarily having done the work themselves, coming in, getting recognition for themselves because they're part of the organization, but did they do that work? Like, I think honestly, like with this, I kind of just want people to be more aware of the voices that they cover up when they talk, of just like, if you're just talking in order to, get recognition and clout for whatever reason. Like, think about all those people that like, think about all the other people that, like, worked on it with you, or, you know, and, like, ask them, be like, hey, wait, actually, did you want to talk to the press about this thing? Or, you know, just, like, being more aware of how that kind of thing happens. Because press people, they'll just come in and be like, anyone want to talk to me about this thing? You know, and then they'll just, like, you know, whoever's there will just be like, oh, yeah, I'll talk to you about this. But then those are the people that get written down in history, you know? Right. Those are the people that people remember in, like, 10 years, will be like, oh, yeah, that organization, blah, 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 you know? So I just feel like that happens a lot. Yeah. That's what this song's about.
It's interesting that you say that you have to think about the voices that you're covering up when you speak. That really resonates with me, because I think that's really the crux of what the issue is. So it's not necessarily an issue for people to want to grow their careers, but you have to recognize how it spins out of control when you get clout. Other people who are looking to climb the social ladder will start flocking to you, and it might make you feel like, well, I deserve a career. I've been working for it. But you're not necessarily thinking about how you're drowning out other people who put work in. And it brought up an image for me right at, like, the height of the beginning of Black Lives Matter. I remember seeing an article that was like, white people, you can be a support to us in this, but you cannot be the voice for this. And it had a picture of a guy, like some guy in his early 20s, a white guy, standing on top of, like, an SUV in, you know, downtown Manhattan with a giant megaphone, and his limbs are just splayed and he's just screaming. And it's like, this isn't your turn to talk. Like, you might care, and you're not a bad person for caring, but you have to know when it's time to sit down, and you're not being a good community member if you're not adequately supporting the people who really need their voices to be heard.
Yeah. That is why, I don't know. Well, I don't want to go into politics or anything, but that's why I think Bernie Sanders is fucking awesome. Yeah. Because, like, you, like, see, like, literally the other day, I was just, like, going through my feed, and there was just, like, Bernie Sanders had, like, all these people talking, like, people from the community in prison justice. That's what it was talking about. Just, like, you know, injustices in the prisons, and, like, closing private prisons, and, like, all that kind of thing. And he did, like, a speech, but it was literally other people talking the whole time. It was like Bernie Sanders, I think, said, like, you know, a couple words or something. Or not a couple words. He said, like, a couple, you know, like, he said, like, a little bit. But basically the rest of it was just these other people from the community talking about how, like, these private prisons, you know, hurt them and their families. And I was just like, I don't know. I thought that was... It speaks volumes to let other people speak about their experiences, you know? And I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go into politics.
He spoke to Cardi B.
Yes.
The other day.
I love that.
Yeah, the nails.
Cardi
She's so
B.
funny.
So great.
She's like, well, I love nails.
And then when Cardi was
she had brilliant things to say.
Yeah.
In her own
she's
Cardi B way.
She's a regular person. And she's asking Bernie, like, what are you going to do about this? And he's like, this is what I'm going to do. Concrete. And you know, when I was younger, when I just started, you know, getting into voting or whatever, turning 18, I didn't want to vote because I felt like a lot of politicians were just speaking politician talk. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like nothing concrete was said or being done. But, like, now I see a lot of people, because a lot of fucked up shit's happening. And a lot of politicians are saying straight up, this politician's a racist, this guy's a racist, we got to get him out of here, we got to do something. Especially with all the shootings that are going on. What's that guy from Texas? I forgot his name. That is a politician down there, senator from El Paso. He straight up said after the shooting happened, Trump is a racist. We got to get him out of here. You know what I mean? I like seeing that, because I like people who, like, acknowledge the bullshit. There's the bullshit. Let's clean it up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, that's how it should be. I mean, yeah, if your community is saying it, but the, like, politicians aren't, then, like, are you really representing your community?
No.
Yeah, but then you really have to be able to trust people to call out the correct things, which is what I think in a lot of ways our mission is, just artists that are coming together to put something developed into the world. It's about calling out things that haven't been called out a lot. Like, you can be like, Trump's a racist, and everyone said that, you know, or like, oh, he's stupid, and, like, he can't lead a country, and it's dangerous, he's got his finger on the buttons, and everybody said it. And it just, you say it so much that it just starts to kind of rot your brain and you start tuning it out. We need to be calling out other things, like what Bernie does as he talks about the media, and he's right. I mean, they ice him. I remember even last cycle, just the way that CNN, they released ads or no, they were covering aspects of Hillary's campaign and Bernie's campaign, and just the way that they designed it, where the music, she had these triumphant drums and it's like boom boom boom, Hillary has been fighting for you for 25 years, and then with Bernie it was like boom, his hair in the wind, he's looking like a crazy person with his fist in the air like a Jewish
Democratic
Hitler.
socialist.
Like, yeah, like the yeah, right. And it's kind of bananas how much BS there is in this country, and the media is really what's in control of all of it. And because it's all the issue is that we have a for-profit media, cool. And the people who are in charge of everything in this country, are able to control the discourse, and so talking about that is an important topic. That's something that I'd like to hear about. Anyway, going too far down the politics, I guess, but it relates.
You guys are speaking about a lot of like things that are relevant in society, and especially to people around our age group, like social media with like envy. I think it's really fascinating because a lot of the stuff you're saying, I've experienced and have seen. I love the line when Sarah says, "I post between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day." Am I quoting that right?
Yeah,
that's so
apparently
true too.
I'd
it's
heard
the best time to post.
I'd heard that it was, but I think that it's changed. Now there are different days. I've seen things, and I don't disrespect anybody. Like I was talking to a friend some months ago about. She was saying that. Playing. I really need some more coffee, but
want some of my tea?
No, but thank
Sure?
you. I just need to slap myself in the face. She was saying that she wants to grow her music, and it's just all about exposure, and she's proud of the art that she makes. So she should put in the work to learn about the business aspects of Instagram, and I totally agree. It was kind of funny because Fred Pissarro, who you really like and respect, wrote about he wrote about Like Envy, the premiere on Revolver magazine, and that was really awesome. I really liked what he wrote. He said something about how we were it's like a scathing review of social media or something. And I didn't necessarily feel that it was like a scathing critique. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to necessarily insult people. And I do think maybe I have insulted some people with this concept, but then we went right on Instagram and started talking about our video and sharing stuff. And it's something that we all need to participate in. And I just want to talk about the effects that doing this all the time has on us, and having to be a slave to it. There's nothing wrong with the posting and the sharing and the selfies, but when it's the only way to survive is staying relevant in an atmosphere in which your competition for staying relevant is everybody, it's just an impossible business model. It's just impossible to stay relevant, and it's something that's just gonna make our entire generation super depressed, I think, in the end, because anybody who takes a break longer than a month or two, which after a while you just need to, is going to inevitably feel out of the loop and like they missed their time, and just so few people will kind of edge above in that strata of the successful Instagram entrepreneurs. And I just think there's something unhealthy about it, and that it's really, really, really vital that we learn to express ourselves fluidly and honestly, and that we don't let having to sell ourselves all the time cloud our awareness of who we really are and what we really want to say and how we're genuinely feeling about things.
Yeah.
So I think it's, go ahead.
I feel like some people, when they're posting on Instagram about their like music or what they're doing, like I can't help but think that like a lot of people are like also thinking about like who they can tag so that they can get this person to like, you know, get them to do something. You know, it's like there's always like a mission of someone of what they could potentially, you know, how they could potentially like be successful. And it's just interesting that people are using Instagram especially in that kind of way, at the sake of kind of like, as Sarah said, just like saying what they really want to say and what they really want to put out there. Like instead they're like, oh wait, but if I wear these shoes in this picture that are like, you know, Fry boots or something, and then I tag Fry in it.
This Coke can in the frame.
Let me put Coke can in the background, and then like tag them both, and then, you know, maybe like Coca-Cola will give me, you know, blah, 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 like, or Fry will give me free boots, and then I can, you know, travel the world, or, you know,
become an influencer.
And become an influencer. You know, it's interesting that's where that's what I at least believe I'm seeing on the internet a lot recently, is that kind of mode.
It's very difficult to kind of like, well, not difficult really, to not kind of distort your message on social media, because I think you guys might have experienced this too. Like for me, as a, you know, podcaster, content creator, etc., when I talk about music, I'm literally talking about the stuff I'm listening to. You know what I mean? Some people have may have gotten this confused as to like the things that I'm talking about is promotion. It's not promotion. You know what I mean? So I'm careful about what I talk about, because people might assume that, so you promote artists. Like, no, I don't promote nobody. I had to tell many people this. I'm talking about the shit I listen to that I really enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what I used to do in college, like, artists that I liked that I would interview, especially the local ones on Long Island, like, if there was a show I was going to, I would post about the show. But I stopped doing that because, you know, I think artists should be their own promotional vehicles. I don't want it to look like, oh, I'm promoting this. No. Like, if I'm talking about an artist, it's because I'm listening to this artist. This is who I am. This is what I do.
It's real.
Yeah, exactly. Have you felt that while using social media for a band, like there's a certain message that you tried to get across that becomes distorted, or people may have the wrong idea of what you're actually about?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think that so far, Sara Fantry has been doing a really good job of kind of like putting images on like Instagram and
I haven't been doing as much lately. And that kind of thing, that are kind of just like weird and creepy and like kind of, you know, I think is kind of like a weird research and development kind of type thing, where it's just like, you know, these are images that we want like associated with us, like weird, creepy, like dark things. And it's not necessarily us. It's not our art. It's not, you know, it's just like things and images that we found that like, that we like, and that like a vision board.
Yeah, kind of like a vision board, kind of like a mood board. It's kind of like a personal mood. You know, it's kind of like a public mood board or something. Yeah, which I think is a cool way to use Instagram. You know, is for that kind of thing, like people that post memes. You know, or like, you know, or like other people's art or other people's music. I think is cool because it gives people kind of like a whole vision of what you're about, and not just being like, this is my music, here's my art, here's my face, here's my body, here's my
brand,
here's my thing. You know, it's like, here are other things that I like, that like mold me or mold this thing into the person that I am. You know, and that I like to see a lot when I see that in people's Instagrams and social media handles.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's like impossible to encapsulate yourself in 10 photos or in a 1-minute video or a 15-second video. You can't show exactly who you are on Instagram like that. And then there are things that bump you down to the bottom of the feed. If you have a flyer and it has writing on it, then it's less likely to show up. And if 20 people didn't like it within the first 10 minutes, then I think it's if 20 people like it within the first 10 minutes, then it shows up on 90% of the news feeds. These kinds of like little calculations. I don't know. Can you really be sincere and have your stuff show? I mean, obviously we're about some pretty, subversive stuff where we want things to change, and there is obviously a very radical spirit about what we do. And I don't know if that's shown if we just post a bunch of morbid art or things that we like, but I do think that, sort of going back to something we were talking about, it's important as artists to promote the work of other artists. And I think that's being a good community member, is sharing the things that you like and that inspire you, and just doing something. At least maybe what our Instagram can show is that we're not just trying to be like pretty or something, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just think art shouldn't stop there with you being pretty and looking cute in a miniskirt. I just don't think that's good enough. And that's okay if you do that. I mean, if you're just about the music and looking cute, then sure, that's your thing. But I'm just interested in something more complex and something more intentional, something that challenges me intellectually more. And I think Instagram's kind of a cool platform for doing that, because you can post kind of whatever. Yeah.
We should just be taking more advantage of all these like social media things let's be honest, every single person I know uses. So, if you're not using it for promoting yourself, you can be using it for, art or sharing things you care about, which is cool. I think it's, we see the light, if we start seeing the good things about these kinds of things, and, realizing that our country is going towards this kind of, the world's going towards this whole like media, pretty much everything will just be online within the next, 5 years or so, I'm pretty sure, like streaming is already the biggest way that people are listening to music now, and everything's online. All the jobs will be online pretty much, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, might as well just swim with the fishes if we're not going to change it.
Find how to use it for good, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hop on the train.
Take
Find a way to make it ours. So my partner, John, is a web developer, and he said something interesting. Yep. He said something interesting about Instagram, because he...
What up, Sick Tick?
Yeah. So he custom builds... websites, and what he likes about being able to do that is the options are virtually limitless. You can change every little thing about anything you can imagine. Pretty much you can do. Whereas if you have a platform like Instagram, he's saying he doesn't really like it, because it's kind of like they give you a tree with a set amount of branches, and you can make it your own by lopping off a certain amount of branches, and mold whatever you want out of that. But it still always has to be out of the options that they gave you. But I still think that's a pretty cool thing. I mean, it was an interesting thing to think about, but also kind of cool. You can do a lot with, if you got 100 branches, there are a lot of combinations you can come up with.
Yeah.
Lopping them off. You can lop off half of one, and yeah. That's all. I thought that was interesting.
This morning, we were talking about you guys, me and my brother. So we were talking about your new single, and we were talking about social media, and, my brother's an artist, so he talks about his art, and then me, I use social media exclusively to talk about my podcast, right? But if I put up a picture about what artist I'm going to have on, and let's say the picture gets like 15 likes, and there's another podcast, the podcast Instagram page might have more followers than me, and the picture they have might get 100 likes, right? Mm-hmm. But both images are telling you to do the same thing. Listen to my thing, listen to my thing. Mm-hmm. Let's say the picture that has 100 likes, only like 10 people actually go and listen to the podcast. But mine, let's say you got 15 likes, but 20 people go and listen to my podcast. Which one is the more successful? The one with the 15 likes, right? Because they got more people to go click on your link. So it's not just about like the likes are meaningless.
Yeah, how real are those likes?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of likes and follows are robots. Or, you know, you can sign up on these sites to just get people to do it. You know, and you build up each other's things together. Yeah, I remember a friend being like, oh, he has like 20,000 followers. And then you click his photos and he has like 3 likes.
Yeah.
It's like, I think he bought.
Like how many subscribers are in that YouTube link that's in your bio? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all bullshit, folks, and it's bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah, the like culture. Woo.
Yeah.
Like envy.
Like envy.
Like envy.
Like envy. So
that's so true though.
As a group, this is very silly, but it probably has an obvious answer. You know, all 3 of you are in committed relationships. Now, listen to me.
How do you know?
Listen,
Sorry, world.
Is there any point where like real life can get in the way of a band? Does that make any sense?
Real life.
I can't practice on Monday because it's date night.
Yeah. Or, you know, I would love to go on this tour, but I'm going on my honeymoon. You know what I mean? Is that
a honeymoon is a once in a life usually kind of thing. So
we all have really supportive partners, though.
It's very it's a very broad question.
Yeah.
It's I'm generalizing, but you know what I mean.
I mean, yes, it is hard to be away from the person that you care about. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this goes because I feel like at some point during some of our tours, I'm sure our significant others will come meet us, and that's awesome. Like I think
they're all very supportive.
I think that's cool too. Like I wouldn't like all 3 of our partners or whatever. I feel like I wouldn't mind if any of them came and like chilled with us for a few days. Like we're all friends.
Yeah.
And it's like cool, you know. And I think that's life. Like you know like people don't want to be away from the people they love too long, and you know you can't let music get in the way of that, but you can't let partners get in the way of that either. So you know you find some balance, and luckily all of our relationships with each other and with our partners are very like open and honest. You know, we can be like, oh, I have this thing Sunday with Mike, you know, I promised him we'd have a date on this day, can't practice that day. You know, it's like maybe at first it's like oh man, but like, you know, at the end of it, I think we all kind of understand that we have responsibilities like that.
Yeah, I think all of our partners are really supportive, and we're supportive of them too, and their projects, and that's why we're with them. But it's actually really interesting that you asked that because it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and how things will kind of get in the way because a band is its own relationship with its own demands, and sometimes your romantic relationship is more important, and sometimes your band relationship is more important because they're both essential things to our livelihood that we need to continue to grow and need to continue to invest in for our own happiness and health and for the maintenance of the other people involved. And so something I've been thinking about lately is just kind of about getting older, and it's like, well, if you have a kid at some point, that really gets in the way of stuff, and thinking about how do you juggle wanting to create radical art, which is a very, very, very big job when everything especially has been done already. Or I guess sometimes it feels like it, but I guess we're finding things to talk about that aren't talked about enough. But how do you stay a punk and also try to grow your home life? That it almost I feel like I've been taught that they are not things that complement one another, at least easily. And I want to have a nice home. I want a clean home. I want it to be peaceful and positive for my happiness and not suffering from too much anxiety. And I need this like cushiony womb-like atmosphere in my home life. I need a happy, supportive, communicative, committed relationship, and I want to have a family one day. And I want that for myself while also wanting to say all the shit I want to say on my own terms and putting as much time as I need to into it. And so I guess there are inevitably going to be things that conflict, but I think being that our band relationship is the supportive relationship that we want for ourselves, that means that we're going to understand with each other when life things take precedence over band stuff. And I think we all have a good balance of priorities and know when it's time to ditch our date night and do the show, and we know when it's time to
make
say
the show date night.
I can't do well, yeah. Or we know when it's we know when it's time to say I unfortunately can't do this tour because I'll be 8 months pregnant.
Whoa.
Just kidding. Nobody's pregnant.
Babies are another thing, though. Like,
what? Maybe that'll happen one day.
You're starting the show.
LOL. Lonnie's sister just had a baby, so there's been some babies around us, some friends.
Yeah.
Our friends in PC worship just had a baby.
We're 30s,
Hello.
We're in a time when all our friends are having babies, so it's obviously something we're on the back of our minds.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like, I don't know, with the way this economy and everything's going right now, I don't know.
The population,
we might be like dead within like 5 years from now. So like, I don't know. Do you want to have a like? It's just
totally.
It's hard to like want to like think of that as something that is, at least in this point in time right now. Like, let's say next year Warren or like Bernie becomes president, then maybe like a bunch of babies will pop out after that. Mike was just not from us, but just like in the world, I'm sure people will be having more babies after that. I'm sure a lot of people are holding back right now.
Babies are not a very punk topic. I just thought it's a good extreme example of family life.
Yes.
But nobody's having a baby right now.
But the only reason why I asked about all your relationships is because the big reason, because I don't want nobody sliding into your DMs. You know what I mean? I want to make it clear.
It happens
all
the time.
I'm looking out for y'all. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Now that we're putting our faces on the internet, everyone's like, "Oh wait, they're girls? What?
Girls?
They're girls?
Girls.
We thought they were boys the whole time."
Oh, that did happen.
Yeah.
That was once upon a time.
Yeah. Blonde dudes. The blonde dudes.
Blonde dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blonde
people just
dudes.
slime wherever they want, though.
True.
Slimy, regardless of whether or not you have a.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of whether or not you have a
You
significant
can post
other.
a picture with your ring on. Like, look,
Yeah.
you tied the knot, and there's gonna be some dude in there like, "Yo, what's good for tonight?" You know what I mean?
You look
Yeah,
so
exactly.
sexy on your
Yeah, it looks so
like,
sexy.
in your engagement photo too.
That ring looks real good on you. Totally off topic what we're talking about right now, but
Change the
Yeah,
you know what's
jam
funny?
topic.
There's certain bands like punk bands.
But if it's that taboo, I guess
true.
we got to talk
It's true.
about it.
No,
I
it
want to talk
happens.
about all the shit that nobody talks about.
It happens.
So we'll fucking do it.
People tell
not
me
fucking
these
afraid.
things. You know what I mean? They're like, people are sliding into their DMs. Like, not even that, like at shows, But anyway,
Anyway, we should have a little beep for the last 20 minutes and keep going.
like a band like Green Day, for example, right? Considered a punk band proper. So what? Right? I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I like Green
I
Day.
know,
Day
but
fan.
early Green Day.
I like
but
Green Day,
Come
but-
on,
Not to
okay,
throw
you're
them
Green
under the
Day.
bus.
I ever got.
Not to throw them under the bus, but like just the punk definition. When you become the mainstream, are you still punk?
Maybe.
Right?
No, it's hard.
I don't know. I think I think genres are fucking stupid. I always thought they were stupid because it's just kind of like, okay,
punk is an idea.
Is punk a genre or a mentality? Because in my mind, punk is a mentality and not a genre. So in that sense, I do think that you can be a punk and be like, I think Cardi B is a fucking punk. I think because she's just like telling it like it is, even though she's mainstream, and I think you can do that. I mean, I don't know. I think, it's just like using your platform to talk about stuff, I think is super punk. Will people disagree with me? Sure. But, I just think that people are like, oh, well, this doesn't have this many, hi-hats, within this amount of, time period. So it's not, specifically punk rock or something. Like, just fucking just cry me a river, dude. Like, I don't know.
Great song.
I just think that it's like analyzing stuff to that extent, and the culture that goes along with that is not exactly doing anything, I think, for the world.
Yeah. It's interesting to talk about it in the context of punk because there are so many punk elitists. And it's like, I use the word as a catch-all term, like you said, as an attitude, and you can say like we're a punk band because it's an easy catch-all term, but my God, the amount of people who are like, that's not punk, these people who, like a friend of mine dyed her hair a natural color, and somebody was like, it's like you're not even a punk anymore or something like this. Somebody said something like that to her. I was like, you look gorgeous, and fuck them. Like, you have to dress exactly the same way. That's the exact opposite of what the ethos of what punk originally was, as far as any of us know. I mean, I'm sure those people then had their problems too, but at least they were just doing something that was so anti-culture. To just join a club is so, you have to dress a particular way, you have to listen to a particular thing, you have to live in a certain way, you got to live with roommates in a dirty house, and you gotta wear a studded belt and a vest and the patches, and you have to be a particular way to be a punk, and that's just joining another club. And that's cool if you want to join the club, but don't be an asshole to other people if you just, if they're not joining your club, you're not special for following.
There's so many bands in New York City that will only play with other bands that are like in their specific scene, and they all wear the same exact thing, and it's just like, and
I'm internally
and music
from hearing this. It's true.
And like, the music could be amazing, and that, but it's not even about that. It's like people are just sometimes not willing to see outside their own circle and kind of listen and give things a chance that are not, their best friend down the hall's band, in New York City. It's kind of,
like,
it's kind of weird like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird like that, honestly. Like, because I don't know. I just think that music can be so way more amazing especially when you see a bill, like a band, like a 3-4 band bill where like it's mixed genres. I think that's way more interesting than just, I don't know, the same kind of shit over and over again. But
I'm glad
I see it all the time. I mean, I used to book a Silent Barn.
Of course.
All the things I ever booked were like kind of random, and not random. They all had similar vibes or whatever, but it wasn't all the same music. You weren't just seeing like 4 shoegaze bands or whatever. You're seeing like, shoegaze band, a darker, rock psych band or something with like similar vibes. Like, I just always trying to make like similar vibes go together instead of
I don't think it makes sense to book a show like a radio programmer would put together a playlist. You know what I mean? Like, I've made a sort of sweeping declaration about going to shows. I don't like shows that have bills of bands that are just full of white dudes or white women. I can't do that anymore because it's very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's very, very uncomfortable to go to shows like that. And especially for me coming from Long Island, going to the boroughs, like why am I going to driving a half hour, 35 minutes to see everybody that looks exactly the same? You know, that was my problem with the Warped Tour thing because like all these dudes they're all dudes first and foremost, and they all look exactly the same. Yeah. You know, the best shows I've been to, I went to go see Gemma recently. You know Gemma, right? Ava Luna, all that stuff. Yeah, the most diverse crowd I've ever seen.
I love Gemma.
Period. Yeah, amazing show because it's very comfortable to see people that look like you that are in the crowd and that are on stage. And I went to go see Tame Impala the other day. Ooh. So many black people there. It was fucking awesome. It was one of the coolest things. Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? It was beautiful. Like I'm really careful about what shows I go to now because I need to see that. I need to see diversity. Go to Elsewhere anymore.
Whew. Well, as of yesterday, I don't go to Elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
Well, I went to Elsewhere yesterday, and my friend that I brought there is, or like, you know, not brought, like she wanted to also go because the music was really good. Yeah. But yeah, she's a person of color, and she did not feel comfortable there because there was literally like, you know, she looked around, and she brought this to my attention when she looked around, there were like 3 people that looked like her, and the rest were all white, and it was just like, and you know, it's not something like. It's something that I've grown more aware about when I step into a place because I'm just like, I don't want to be around all these people that look exactly like me. Like, I want to like feel like, you know, I'm, you know, in a place that actually feels safe for people, and then I'm seeing, you know, music in a venue that supports that. And I don't know. Every time I go to Elsewhere, I just feel like it's like that. It's just, you know, what? Super just like bridge and channel white people from like New Jersey.
I've seen the last couple of shows I went to at Elsewhere. I went to go see Combo Chimbita, and they're, you know, a Latin band, and most of the people in the crowd were of different credences. Oh, really? Okay, those are some of the best shows I've been to. Yeah, we're at Elsewhere, the hall, not at Zone 1 or the rooftop. You know,
people. Maybe it was the specific party I went to yesterday. Yeah, probably was.
And I've seen Elsewhere's like all the shows and parties there. They're from all over the whole spectrum of people. Sure. You know what I mean? But there are some shows that I see that are just like, dude, nah, I'm not going to that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Can't do it. Now, when you guys organize, you know, your tours and different shows, are you taking that into consideration about the people you bring that, you know, that will play your shows or go on tour with you?
Certainly.
Yeah. As much as we can. I mean, sometimes you just kind of gotta take what you can get, and tours just harder, you know, to figure out bands when you don't know the bands in the area, you don't know the scene. It can be a little bit harder. Yeah, but it's something that we never want to just have like a bill of. We want it to be a diverse situation because everybody needs exposure, and white people have had enough time in alternative music, and and definitely dudes have.
Oh yeah.
And just as white women, we know both sides of it. We know the privilege of it, and we know the struggle of feeling completely unwelcome. And so it's kind of like taking that privilege and trying to do the best that we can to not allow it to get any worse.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's great. Yeah. But yeah, you know what? I think it's important for artists to, like, I'm not a musician. I'm in no position of giving like artists advice on what they should do. But I think it's also important, like, a lot of artists listen to different types of music and try to understand different cultures of music. So it can make not only it makes your music better, but also it just makes like the music community a lot better as a whole if you're exposed to different types of things, and then you meet different types of people. You know what I mean? Like when I was in college, I did just, you know, my shows are like very like indie rock focused, just because like the other shows that were on the station were like, you know, a certain type of music. I'm like, okay, let me just be different. But the thing that I started to notice that everyone started to look the same. I'm like, I can't do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you open your eyes, you're gonna you know, meet some people that you never would have met otherwise. You know?
Totally.
That's why I love going to see house music.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, it's totally, you know, it was originated in Detroit and by black people.
And
so I love supporting that. I love going and seeing.
Is distorted with white Europeans.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like that whole EDM boom is full of white European dudes, but that shit that you kind of took from is rooted with black people.
No,
you know
totally. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I love seeing these like Detroit, you know, like when people come from like Detroit or Chicago and like they come and play New York, I'm like, shit, I need to see this because this is like the real shit. This is like where, you know, and I love that kind of like community of people that will come. Like you'll see these like, you know, women in their 40s, you know, come out and just be like dancing their asses off to, you know, like this like house music because it's brings people together. It totally brings people together. Like I'm actually after this, I'm going to see Terrence Parker.
Okay.
Who's like a serious like Detroit. I think he's Detroit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. From but yeah, like at Sugar Hill Disco. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh my god, it's the coolest place ever. But yeah, it's like a barbecue party, so you know there's gonna be just like some serious just heads just. You know, dancing from the neighborhood there and whatever. It's going to be awesome. I just love that type of shit.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't really see in noise rock music, though. We're making, I mean, obviously, I think that at this point, we're making like noise rock-ish type music, the sludge stuff. But you don't, I mean, it's hard for me to find like, you know, like diverse bands in that realm for some reason. So it's like I'm not 100% sure why, but yeah, I don't know. There are some pretty good scenes with like Deli Girls and like Channel 63 and like those kind of like electronic noise bands that are happening right now. But yeah, in terms of like noise rock bands, I don't know. It's hard. Peter, if you know of any like really awesome bands
I do.
To know. Yeah, please let us know. Because, like,
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah, please send. Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to do a lot of, like, R&D. Research and development.
Which is just why I wish more people were booking shows where they thought about it, because the more exposure there is for interesting acts with more unique perspectives creatively, the more it's just going to be out there and promoted and shared and available. And I still hate seeing a band of white dudes, even if I love every single straight white dude on that bill, you know, straight cis white dude. I still am like, wait a second, you guys had those dudes open? Like, for Christ's sake, there's so many openers you could have had that wouldn't have just been up for, you know, delightful cis straight white dudes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I went to see Courtney Barnett last year at the Prospect Park, and she had Vagabond open for her. I think that's incredible. Cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I love going to see Courtney. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's aware that I don't know if she is aware of what she's doing. Maybe she just likes Vagabond, which is great too. But I think it's cool that like, okay, we need to like diversify this stew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's great. But I love the direction that your band's going in, and you're definitely moving up the ladder a little bit. You know, you're getting a lot more attention, I think, from just the teaser singles. Is there anything that you feel like you are or aren't doing to help progress your band to move to another level, if that's your goal?
That we aren't doing. Well, if we weren't doing it, we'd probably want to do it, right? So then we would think about it and then do it.
Do you have any ideas?
I mean, I want to make more art with Weeping Icon.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that we're not doing. I just think it's something that is going to come, I think.
It takes time.
Yeah, and it takes time and, development. Sorry, I'm using that word a lot.
Because some people get like a band like Royal Blood, for example. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they got signed the first year they were a band. And I think...
Did we do that too, technically? I guess we got signed first year. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, like a band... but this band got a big deal, and they were all over the radio and all that stuff within the first year, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
but
that happens.
It does happen. But like with you guys, I think you're taking the slow, you know what I mean? You're just building out, who you are and trying to like... do it on your own before anybody comes in with big money and say, here, you know what I mean?
I mean, wasn't
come join my team.
Future Islands was a band for like 8 years before they hit it big, so
Same with the Black Keys too.
Black Keys, I don't know. Yeah, a lot
I
of
don't
bands.
know. It's like
But
we can
also-
say,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
Go on.
We can say we're doing it before the big money comes in, but who the hell knows about
if that. It doesn't even matter.
It's gonna happen.
It doesn't even
It's
matter.
just-
No.
We want to create art, and we want to, if we feel like we're saying something important, there are just so many good, kind-hearted people out there who have something to say, who just feel, why is it my right to say anything? And then there are so many pig-headed people who think of the most simple things, and they're like, I'm going to say this. This is going to go over good. And they just promote themselves. And I don't know. I think if you're the type of person to really think about things and develop ideas, do that.
Yeah.
Put it out there. Have the confidence. But people need to hear. If you got something to say, people need to hear it probably. Yeah. And so I think that's all we're really working on. Signed or not signed, future or no future in it. Who knows? We're just trying to create art and say something, and if we feel like it's something valuable, then we want as many people who could possibly be affected by it and inspired by it and create their own art out of it to hear it and see it.
Yeah, I know that we're never going to be like rich off our music, and that's something that just like doesn't happen anymore, really. So that's not something we can expect, and we're not trying to. We're just trying to, get out our stuff and I mean, want to make a name for ourselves as artists more than, just like a band.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's say, for example, like you get like the Postal Service treatment, like your song gets picked up to be the theme of Grey's Anatomy or something like that. You get booked to play a big.
Happen, Peter.
You get booked to play a big
Do you
festival.
like my content? Do you want to save this life on the table with your doctor knowledge?
That would be good. That would be good.
Show.
You never know.
Like if you get that kind of treatment and get booked to play a big show at a festival, or you open for a band at Brooklyn Steel, for example, would you still at that point want to continue playing those big type of shows, or still play like a house show, for example?
Both.
Both? You
Yeah,
do both.
we
Okay.
would play
As long as we didn't like break the house because we had so many people there or something.
Yeah.
Green Day is a really good example actually of that, because they'll play like Billy Joe will still play like sets under a different name. I think one happened like semi recently, like maybe 6-7 months ago or something. Just like played a random show somewhere. I forget exactly when this happened, but
That's cool.
yeah, it's cool because it's. I mean, Green Day's huge.
There's never anything that you think you would be at, assuming that Weeping Icon is a much bigger band than it is now. Is there anything that you wouldn't do, like, oh, that's going back, or that's not what we do anymore?
We're not doing this to become famous. I don't.
Of course not.
So I think it's sort of like we'll do whatever we feel is expressive.
Anything that will
We
make
just want to
sense you.
express. We just want to be able to express.
But I think expression is good, and so I want other people to, if other people feel like they're not expressing themselves genuinely enough, the more of us that do it, the more they'll be like, I should do that. And then the world becomes a better place. So
Yeah.
I totally want to, we did like a Doc's party last year. Now we all wear Doc Martens, so
I've been
I
to
think
one
we
of
all
those.
we all feel good about it. We got, they gave
Free
us
Doc
Docs, and we like that. We like those shoes. Like they're comfortable and utilitarian. They're good. It wasn't like doing it for high heels, but that could feel like these little moves towards selling out. But I will take. Personally, I feel like I'll take any exposure as long as it doesn't go against my values, because I just think if you're saying something genuine, then you should try to get it out there as much as you can. If you're not preserving your art, if you're not exposing people, if it's not put in front of them, they won't even know about it. They won't even have the option of seeing it. People need to see more options. So.
And you know what's good? You brought up a good point, because I think a lot of people want the things that are any new music or any good music, quote unquote, that's considered relevant is the music that's put in front of you. And if the music's not shoved down your throat, that means that means it's not irrelevant or it's not important. But at the same time, let's say if an artist makes it big and you knew about the artist when they were undiscovered, you would say, oh, I knew about that band or artist before they were big. I tried to tell you about this band before they were big. But why don't you support the current artists that are on the rise? You know what I mean? Not just, oh, when this artist gets big, now you say, oh, I knew about this band, I knew about this artist. You know what I mean? Like that
Sure.
makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Isn't that just what we were talking about with Ripe for Consumption? These people sort of flocking to the people that matter as soon as they matter, and that's just something vapid. And that's something that people do because, it has to do with people's insecurities. That's all. I mean,
Clout. Going back to clout.
I feel like one influencer can make our whole career. If like one.
This overarching theme is.
Yeah. Well, what is? Oh, wait, sorry. So in your example there, what do you think people want to like get out of those words?
Probably, for example, okay, in LA, there's K-Rock, the big station right there. A lot of people.
we used to have K-Rock in
Yeah, we had that. Yeah, we had K-Rock here, but K-R-O-K. No,
Yep.
K-R-O-Q.
Q.
Yes. Yeah. So that station is known for putting on newer bands before they were famous, right? I think a lot of people want that kind of notoriety, to be the guy or girl that knows about that artist before they get big. You know what I mean?
They could listen to 1,000 bands and pick that one band out and be like, this band is really good.
Yeah.
Isn't that what all labels that aren't
tastemaker.
like Sony are trying to
do.
sell? They're all trying to discover the next big thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, or like anybody who writes about music, or
Or taking credit of knowing about the artist before they got big.
right, because what they're selling
What does
is
that
their
even do
eye.
to someone?
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. That's my point. You know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, because there are bands that I've booked in the past before they were, like, huge. And, I just kind of, like, think it's sort of, like, that's what I want. Like, I'm glad that I had the experience of doing that, And it's it feels less like, like I'm trying to take ownership over their, fame or something, and more like, and more that it's just like exciting that that's still something that can happen, that musicians can become big.
Totally.
And do, it's interesting.
Like watching Boy Harsher has been really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Lani used to put
Harsher.
on Boy Harsher shows.
He makes the rhythm.
Like late night at Silent Barn. Yeah, we've been dancing that
I
song
booked
for
their
like
first New York
years
City
ago.
show ever.
You booked their
Yeah.
first New York show?
Yes.
Cool.
Like, and Jay sent me their demo and was like, hey, listen to this thing. Like, before, like, so I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like cool.
But they're
it's-
such cool people.
Yeah.
Like they booked a show for our old band in Savannah, Georgia years ago. Like they were just really wonderful, and like I think that's so cool that
cool to watch.
that you were booking, or that we like were like, wow, this art is really awesome, and then lots of people saw it and were like, oh, I love that, and now so many people can enjoy it, and some good people get to support themselves with creating their really awesome art. That's the coolest.
Well, because it's cool. I guess for those people, they feel like I felt like I only booked them because I liked them. And then they became big. It wasn't because I knew they were going to be big. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
This band's going to be huge.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I need to book this band right now because they're going to blow up. It was more like, oh, shit, this is actually really good. And like, of course I would love to help this band out.
That's the only reason why you three are here. I really fuck with you. If I thought you were okay, I would not have you on here. You know what I mean?
That's sweet. Yeah. I mean, that's all we can do as people that like choose things and try to, it's like, I think, personal politics aside, and, relationship politics and all that kind of stuff, it should just be about music and or like just about the music and the art and like what you're putting out there, or what that band is putting out there, what that artist is putting out there. And like, and I don't know. I think like that should come first. I think in my eyes is just like, do you like this? Do you actually like this thing? and why, you know, like, I don't know. I think that's important to distinguish from like, oh, do I like this because I'm sold it, you know, or because I think this will be really good. Like, I work with someone who will like listen to every what's that new music podcast that's like, it's like, I forget what the podcast is, but he listens to it like all the time, and will just like play these bands, like their full album of these bands that he doesn't like and that I don't like. And I'm like, why are we listening to this right now? Like, he's like, oh, because this is like a band that's like going to be popular. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, can you took it off? Like, you know, like I'm not.
Research. That's what he's got to do.
No, it's research, but I'm just like, do we have to listen to the whole record? Like, you know, like, I don't know.
What are you guys listening to now?
It's hard.
That you love, but you can't stop listening to.
I was really obsessed with the last Lingua Ignota album.
Oh, it's so good.
Just like she's so like dramatic and morose and like this like operatic stuff. Her voice is incredible. It's so epic, and it like inspires me infinitely, even though I don't want to create that music exactly. Like, I think it's just so specific, so like it's just like mind-blowingly curated. So I was really into that album.
I think I was listening to an album yesterday. You guys ever heard of Rhapsody?
No.
The rapper? Okay. Mm-mm. She put out an album yesterday called Eve. And all the songs...
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Cool.
All the songs are about different important black women in her life. Yes. Sick. It is
awesome.
Beautiful. There's a track about Aaliyah. There's a track about Afeni Shakur. Who else? I forgot who else. But it's remarkable. Remarkable. So good. I think every woman, especially black women, should listen to it. It is fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Yeah. So good.
So cool.
I listened to it on my lunch break. I was wowed. I was floored. It was so great.
I was checking out Lizzo's Instagram the other day.
Oh, Lizzo.
Yeah, I didn't know about her. And
she's so great.
She's so cool. And she was, and she was just like, she's this artist, and she's just like, I'm doing this for my fat black sisters. Like, she's like, I'm doing it for all of us, and I want you to love yourself, and we got to love ourselves, and, you know, just that message, like, you know, it doesn't have to be my demographic. It's just, it's just beautiful and inspiring to see people loving themselves and being honest and having a platform saying it. It's a major redeeming factor for being in Trump times. Is that we're seeing people who look different, and especially, I mean, I think the most. We shouldn't be comparing, like, as Roxane Gay says in Bad Feminists, like, we really shouldn't be comparing different demographics and who has it worse. But I think that fat people have it the worst in this country. I think that there is no group that is infantilized and just beaten up more than anybody. So I'm especially just really excited to see artists who people are excited about seeing them, you know, in like cute little brown panties, you know, glittery brown panties performing the way Ariana Grande would. And, you know, I think that's just super important and makes me feel really happy to be a part of these times and to be seeing this kind of liberation on that large scale.
Yeah, I do see that too with like Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she's just like, this is me. I got these like
out in the open.
She's just out in the open, just like this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm just like fierce and like, I don't know.
I don't think she thinks about the things she says before she says them. I think she literally probably goes in the studio, whatever's on her mind, and that's what she's going to say.
That's just so sick. I love that. I love that can be like mainstream and like, you know, people are like rocking out to that. Or not rocking out,
well, the song slaps, so like,
slapping,
you know what
slapping
I mean?
to that.
It's
Well, you three do
awesome.
the same thing. Your songs kind of slap too, and you're like, you're telling us about social media and culture vultures and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Culture vultures. Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of problems.
We're as important as someone like Megan Thee Stallion. I don't necessarily think that, but you know,
Yeah, you know. Each has its place.
Each thing has its place.
Yeah, and that's inspiring to us. Like,
I
I want to see any disenfranchised person, historically disenfranchised person, get a voice and get a platform.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes me feel great about, and in any way that I've taken a beating before, I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think I'm glad to hear you three talk about this because you're inspired by things that aren't the stuff you make, literally. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You're not going to make stuff that Megan Thee Stallion or Lizzo's going to do, but, you're inspired by, things that are outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I can at least speak for myself that I listen to like every single genre of music and can genuinely say that I like every single genre as long as it's good. Mm-hmm. Like as long, I can like that's just me as like someone having like an audiophile type personality. Like I don't know. I just have a huge ear for just listeing to
and you book shows,
music.
so you've seen different artists of all kinds come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's important as a musician to do that. To just like open your mind to all different types of sounds and people, and I don't know. I think it's important. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said,
the album's coming out in a month.
But I was gonna say that I'm really into Molly Nilsson right now.
Who's that?
Oh, you would. I'll forward to you. It's kind of like John Mousy.
Who's that?
Kind of.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, we gotta start from square one with Peter. John Mouse is awesome.
John Mouse is the shit. I love
really
John
awesome.
Mouse.
It's kind of like
oh my God.
like chill wavy.
Yeah.
Like darker, kind of like.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Ariel Pink?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe that kind of style, but I don't know.
Darker,
I'm so bad. Yeah,
like
darker,
kinda
electronic-y.
It's good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you'll really like it.
Molly Nilsson kind of sounds really similar to John Mouse and just like the arrangements and that kind of thing.
Cool.
But she's awesome. Swedish.
The self-titled album is out 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And the release show is the 26th.
It's the 26th,
right?
Saint Vitus.
Yeah.
26th. It's a Thursday.
Weeping
so
Icon.
You can make it.
I can, of course. What is that? Is that like a Friday or Saturday?
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it. Of course, yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, I can get home a little late before work the next day. It's fine. I went to Tame Impala on a Thursday, so it's doable.
It won't be that late.
No, I mean, it's a little like,
Yeah.
it's in a part of like Brooklyn on like, it's closer to Queens, but it's kind of like sort of away from the highways a little bit. I remember when I went, last time I was at Saint Vitus, I had to walk over the,
Pulaski?
yeah, I had to walk over that to get to the 7, you know what I mean? But if I go to Saint Vitus, it's not
bad.
on my drive. It wasn't terrible, but
It's hard to get to.
No, it's easier to
It's
drive
down
it
the
because
block
then you
from
can
me.
just
Way
zoom, zoom, zoom.
yeah.
I walk
That's it.
there in
Walk
5
from
minutes, so it's really nice.
Yeah.
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 That's why we're all crashing at Reinold's house after. Party.
Thank you, dudes, for coming on.
Oh, we love you, Peter.
Yes.
Thank you.
We love you, Peter.
Love you
You
best.
guys are the best.
Peter. Peter.
Mom.com.
Now, where can people follow you on the dreaded social media?
Oh, it's not dreaded.
Of course not. No, I'm kidding.
We're trying to make art out of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music.
What's the handle?
Yeah. Sweeping icon.
Thank you.
Facebook.
Everywhere.
Whatever these things are.
Yeah.
Here's
whatever
what we
they
don't
are.
have: Snapchat.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about making a
do have
Snapchat.
Twitter.
I was thinking about it.
Do we use
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, I use it
You
all
swear,
the time.
yeah.
One time
For
I
Weeping Icon.
insulted
never
James
checked my
Franco
Twitter.
on our Twitter.
What?
Wow.
What'd you say?
Did he respond?
No.
Who'd you?
you tag?
You're sliding into somebody's DMs
Yeah, I
already.
tagged him. I insulted him.
Who'd you insult?
James Franco?
Really? What'd he say?
I can't remember. Anyway, it's up there. So check it out. Don't forget to hit subscribe.
It's great. Oh man, that's so awesome.
I just had like a vision of using the Twitter to say stuff that other people aren't saying, even if they're whatever. Anyway, it didn't work out. You can read that one tweet though.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
This has been level 36 of My Little Underground. Is it 36? I don't even remember anymore. I don't remember how many episodes I did. And you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube as well. I got bite-sized portions of the show there. Just Search My Little Underground, and I'm all there. It's Peter_A on Twitter and Instagram. At MLU Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search My Little Underground, and I'm all there. Weeping Icon on My Little Underground. It's Peter A. Later days.
Bye. Later days, Rocket Power.
Yes. No, The Weekenders.
Oh, The Weekenders. Mm-hmm. Wait, it wasn't from Rocket Power?